What was it that turned that on? What turned the light on for you?
Well, I think I was like most people. I thought, as Beverly said, that the prison was filled with just bad people with no hope. And that was completely the opposite. That not only were they interested, they had done their homework, they were asking questions. I had a couple of guys bring business plans to me when I was there. So I could see that it was genuine. And obviously it was one of the first time, it was the first time, and we did follow-ups as well. But it just like, I'm at VC, we get pitched all the time, and we invest a lot in people. So we're pretty intuitive about that, and you see passion in someone's eyes, and it really does translate well.
And yet, at the same time, you're in a prison, so is it dangerous? And what's your experience there?
So I think I should answer that one since it's all men. And I will say, as one of the few women who are in sight or amongst, potentially thousands of guys, it's a little scary. Plus, when you first walk up to San Quentin and you look at the welcoming sign, it's all full of no's. No this, no that. And one of the things that is especially striking on that sign is the fact that if in fact you are held hostage, there is no assistance to you at all. You're on your own. So what they recommend you equip yourself with is something that's very, very high tech. If you have trouble, that's what you do. And the good thing about that is it is the one signal that everybody will pay attention to. So when I blow, I've never had to do it, but if I blew that whistle, every single prisoner would be down on their knees so that the guards have full range of what's happening in prison.
But Beverly, when you came that first time, I mean, it clicked for you too, right?
It did. Just meeting the men and judging them as people, not as prisoners, because what we know about them through the media and through the movies and maybe stories, it's not true. And that's something that happened to them such a long time ago, and they're so evolved from that moment in their life.
So you're entrepreneurs in the Silicon Valley, and the mental model we have for entrepreneurs in the Silicon Valley isn't necessarily you're spending time in prisons. So how does this connect to what you're doing day to day outside of the prison life, and where do you see the connectivity?
Well, I'll tell you, one thing that we get sort of caught up in is, we're very fast-paced. I mean, evolution of products and companies happens very rapidly. I think what it's done for me, because now I have to work with Sacramento and I'm working with the Department of Corrections, they don't work at the same pace. And, it's big company, big organization, so it's taught me a little more patience, and I think that's actually been beneficial to me personally. But also, we've invited a lot of the CEOs from our portfolio to come in prison and, give their perspective about running a business and being in a business. And I think it's really helped them also. So it's given them a little bit different perspective. And, when you do a startup, it's hard. And I think after seeing them, nothing is as hard as what these men are going through. So the empathy is there, and certainly I think some of our CEOs have already said this to me. It's like, I thought I had it hard, and I think about that a lot. When things are tough, I think about those guys sitting in prison, and that puts it in a much different perspective.
I actually just would like to comment that we have very busy lives, and we've had many different companies and have had our success, and we're very grateful for that. And in some ways, I think I do it for selfish reasons, because giving back really makes me feel whole. And every time I go in, I learn something new about the men, about the program, and about myself.
And you're doing it together.
Yeah. Well, what she said was really true. I mean, she kind of sugarcoated a little bit, but I get pretty enthusiastic probably sooner than she does. I mean, this is something completely different, and it's way out there. So when I went home, she thought I was out of my mind. But when you step back and think about the consequences, in California, the budget for prisons is it's the largest budget of any expenditure. So if we can help mitigate the problem in prisons, that money can be used somewhere else. So unless you address the problem directly, it's never going to be resolved.